Thank you for tuning in. This is Kingdom Wisdom with me, your host, Phoebes. Before we start, I'd like to invite you to follow, like, share, rate, and leave a comment in the comment section. Also, feel free to send us a DM on Instagram to KingdomWisdom.Podcast. As we continue to dive deep into purpose, I'd like us to focus on the power of a dream and how purpose can change your life. And today I'm joined by a motivational speaker, a youth coach, a podcaster, an author, and a publisher, Mr. Ronnie Letshabo. Wow, so many hats. How do you balance them all?
Hi, Phoebes. Life is very short. We don't have all the time to be here. Because we don't have all the time to be here, we need to do as much as we can with the very little time that we have. And to do as much as possible, it requires a lot of discipline, commitment from somebody. And that's why I am able to do more than one thing.
Wow. I know you recently went on a book tour on your book, The Power of a Gift. It's been now made available on Bargain Books, yeah?
We're busy with distribution issues on that platform, but otherwise it's available everywhere else.
That's so lovely. Have you always wanted to be an author?
I was an early reader because if you're a reader, it appears as if you are bound to end up writing, because I was an early reader and my passion for books never stopped. As I grew older, it just kept growing with me, and ultimately I ended up writing. But initially I was just somebody who was interested in books. I started reading at a very early age.
Oh, wow. I know the journey hasn't always been made easy. And I know last year at one of the youth conferences, you had spoken about the ability to persevere. And you had made mention that life wasn't given to you on a silver platter, and so you made do with what you had. So may you please elaborate more on your life experiences and how that made you the author that you are today?
In so many ways, there's so much injustice in the world. There are certain things we don't have power over. We don't choose where we are born, who our parents are. We don't choose most of our circumstances that we find ourselves in. However, no matter the cards life has dealt you with, you need to make the best of whatever situation you find yourself in. As you grow older, your life is governed more by your choices than the circumstances you were born into. And if you entertain the deficit that maybe you inherited, you may end up making excuses why you are not moving forward, why you are not achieving. And you cannot really make it big in this life if you keep on making excuses. In spite of all the negative circumstances one may find himself or herself in, you have to take the bull by its horns and face life head on and fight a good fight of faith so that you make something out of your life.
Wow, that is like so profound, because I don't think many of us young people get to hear that everyone is making an excuse for their life. Like, I'm like this because I didn't have it growing up. I didn't have what I needed to make it. And it's so powerful that you explain it from that angle, that as we grow up, the choices that we make impacts our future. It's not our parents' future, it's our future. And so I realized there's a kind of a trend in your books. I know you wrote No Limits, and you wrote
Against All Odds.
Against All Odds, yes, The Power of a Gift, and Leadership.
Getting leadership right is getting everything right.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And also the other book was the new upcoming book.
You Had to Be Born.
Yes. So what inspires that train of thought? Because I realize it's all about motivation and about changing your life.
One of the greatest challenges that we face is that most people die with unused potential. You are the only person in the world who can use your abilities, nobody else. And because you are the only one who can use your abilities, it is very important to understand that indeed you've got potential, that you are able to do far more than you've ever thought. And because of that, because I believe so much in human potential, I'm trying to challenge people to become their very best. I'm trying to challenge people to release their potential. I think we've buried way too many people before they could give the world their best. All of us, we owe the world our very best. And that is why I'm writing as much as I can. My contribution to the world is through my books, that maybe somebody somewhere will say, hey, my life is better because I read the book, or my faith was challenged because I read that book. That's my desire, that as I write these books, they will challenge people to become what God made them to be.
Wow. I love the fact that you bring that God element. When we read Jeremiah 29, verses 11, it says, He knows the plans He has for us. And I think your books help us figure out the plans that God has for us, not for ourselves, but we give unto the world the potential that we have. So I just love the fact that you brought God into it. And honestly, when did you decide to become a publisher?
Initially, when you start writing, maybe let me go back before writing, reading again. Like I said, I was an avid reader, still am. I'm still an avid reader. And then that led me to writing. And then as I started writing, more and more people came to me, help me with my book. I'm busy with the book and this and that. And actually, that's how I end up being in a publishing space. It was people approaching me in big numbers to assist them with their book projects. And then I ended up there,
Wow. Because I know also in your book, The Power of a Gift, you once said, passion is the inner strength that helps you to endure under pressure. It gives you the ability to withstand the temptation to wait when things get hard. What was the hardest part of your journey, and how did your passion help you get through people, different hats, wearing all those different hats? Yeah.
I think one of the greatest challenges in life is delays. Because when you're delayed, you can easily be deceived into thinking it is not going to happen. Maybe I'm not going to make it. Because when you're delayed, you feel like you're defeated in some way, and you need that inner strength, that inner energy that keeps you going, that thing that reminds you why you started. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're not passionate about what you do, you are most likely to give up when the going gets tough, because along the way, the rubber is going to hit the road. And that's where most people give up, especially when you're delayed. Now, when you've got passion, is what keeps you going. Like your passion is like, that fire that burns from within you. Whatever you do, and you're not passionate and you're not going to give it your all. I've been passionate about speaking, passionate about books and writing and all that. That's why at no point, even when I went through difficulties, the thought of quitting ever crossed my mind, because it's something I'm passionate about. If I were to only write, I'll still be satisfied and happy and fulfilled about my life. Because I'm passionate about what I do. When you're on fire, when there's like an artist around town or something, we go there, watch we want somebody who's on fire, somebody who is sold out, somebody who is passionate about what they do, because passion is contagious. It rubs off on other people once you do what you do with passion. I think anything worth doing must be done with passion. If you're not passionate about it, don't do it, because you're not going to give it your best.
Wow, that is so profound in so many ways. I know that you also had made mention that the first book to hit the shelves was The Power of a Gift.
No limits.
No limits.
Oh, way back in the day, yeah.
Way back. No, because I know that you were writing, there was a struggle, the consistent struggle of trying to get your books on the shelf.
Actually, we're very fortunate with No Limits. We managed to get it on the shelves nationwide. We distributed with one of the largest bookstores in the country, and we did fairly well, especially in the Western Cape. I think for 3 months running, we were on the bestseller list. So, yeah, so we did fairly. And even to this day, I don't know what is it about that book. People that have read my work, they always reference. They always go back to No Limits and say, oh, I read this book and this happened to me and whatnot. And now, because it was my first book, I was like, guys, I've grown. Like, I've developed so much.
I've evolved.
I wrote No Limits 13, 14 years ago. 14 years later, the things I know now, I mean, I did not know back then. I've seen life from different sides. I've in so many ways, matured, but nonetheless, I think it's still one of the greatest books I've ever written. And based on the feedback, the feedback I received from that book is humbling.
Wow. Wow. What headspace were you in when you were writing No Limits? What was going on in your life that enabled you to inspire so many?
Interesting enough, I will have random thoughts and I'll put them like inspirational thoughts. I'll put them on paper, I'll talk about maybe attitude, write about it, or power of the tongue or belief, just inspirational stuff. And after some time, I'm like, let me take this more serious. And I put it all together. That book was not planned. I just put thoughts on paper, and the rest is history. It was authentic. It came from my heart. I never, as a matter of fact, I never even planned to write another book. After I released No Limits, it did very well. And people started asking me, when is the next one coming? And I was like, what's coming again? They said, another book. Yeah, and like others used to say to me, you owe us another book. You can't just hit us with one. And yeah, since then, I think we have written so many books.
Wow. I know that you've been through a lot in life. And when you write those books, when you're talking now about No Limits, I realized how much the Bible has inspired your writing. Because when you read the book of Proverbs, you'll find that there's power behind your tongue, and everything that you say has the power to become, So how much contribution did the Bible have in your writing?
It boils down to a relationship. I've got a relationship with God, and that relationship has informed literally everything about my life. Even what I write is informed by that relationship. Literally everything flows from that relationship. I don't think there's anything greater than having the relationship with the author of life himself, and you can think about any other book, right? All of them, one way or the other, they draw from biblical wisdom and principles. Whether you talk leadership, servant leadership, it's biblical principles, like literally everything, because biblical principles are life principles, So I've been inspired so much by the Bible because I think I've read the Bible more than any other book, but also over and above that, it's informed by my relationship with God.
Wow. Wow. I love the way that you said your gift and the word of God has made room for you to grow and become the person that you are. Because many people neglect the gift along the way, and they neglect God, or they carry the gift and neglect God. But in your book, because I was reading The Power of a Gift, in the book, you emphasize growing your gift and your potential. And as I was reading your book, I think for me, I read the Bible alongside with it, and that's what inspired. It had your book actually brought what we now know as Kingdom Wisdom to pass, because it said, Phoebe, you have a gift, and your gift is speaking. You're able to speak and have conversations with people, impactful conversations. And your gift also just, the power of the gift also just showed me this new side to me that I wanted to explore, that it's not really about getting a job, but it's about purpose. And so I just wanted to thank you for that. And I wanted to know, what can we expect in You Had to Be Born? What can we expect?
Okay, part of the gift is more about unleashing your potential. And because I have found that power of a gift, it's people underestimate their gifts. Actually, they neglect them. And when you neglect your gift, you neglect your potential. You can do so many things with your life, but you will never be your very best until you tap into what I call your sweet spot, which is your natural gift. Okay, so it's more about potential. Now, You Had to Be Born is about purpose. I've read so many books about purpose, which have inspired my book, You Had to Be Born. However, one of the things I discovered as I go through a whole lot of books that talked about purpose, they pitched it too high. It was like, I have to go to the moon to live my purpose, or I need to come with the discovery of some deadly disease or something. But that's not that. Purpose is not that far-fetched. Purpose is what we do day in, day out. a housewife who's looking after his family, his children, making sure that their schoolwork is done and instilling proper values and morals in them. That housewife is living her purpose, which is to make her family great and help her children to become significant people one day and so on. If whatever you do makes a difference, touches people's lives positively, people's faith is stronger and their lives are changed because of you, you are living out your purpose. Your purpose is to make a difference, to succeed, to be productive, to contribute in whatever shape or form. And if your contribution towards humanity is helping people one way or the other, then you're living your purpose. So all of us, we are living our purpose every day, but we are not aware that we are on purpose because for some reason we've been programmed or taught that purpose is something out there. Like what you're doing here is purpose. That somebody will go through your podcast and maybe they're down or they were contemplating suicide or something bad, and they listen to it and they change their minds or they get motivated, they get inspired. That's purpose. I remember some years back after I released No Limits, a lady from, I forgot the name of the place, but it's in the Eastern Free State. Send me a Facebook, was it Messenger, Facebook message?
Yeah, it's Messenger, yeah.
Yeah, and she said, I was contemplating suicide and I read your book. Thank you for saving my life. I've never met the lady. I don't know her.
Wow.
And she said, oh, thank you, saved my life. One time I went to the prison here, Ramachana. They were about to release some inmates, so they asked me to come speak to the inmates who were about to be released. One of them, after he heard my name, he came to me and he hugged me and he said, you saved my life. I'm like, I don't know this guy. He's in prison. How in the world have I saved his life? He said, I was contemplating suicide. Apparently somebody had bought my books and dropped them in prison.
Wow.
And
that person fulfilled purpose.
And this guy said a day before he could commit suicide, he read the book. And he said he read the chapter that talked about fight one more round, give yourself a second chance, something like that. He said, after I read that, I decided I'm going to give my life a second chance. As a matter of fact, he even requested who are these people who are working in prison? A ward to take us a picture. And that's not allowed. He pleaded with them, said, I need a picture of this man. Like, I was so humble that my work can touch somebody in prison and save his life. So that's purpose. So purpose is not something out there. It's what we do every day. That if we touch people's life positively, we are contributing towards humanity. We are making a difference. We are helping somebody in one way or the other. We are living our purpose.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Wow. Well, and I love the fact that you explain purpose in simple terms because everyone's thinking in order to fulfill purpose, you need to be famous. Everyone needs to know your name, but you just purpose is doing that which you needed to do. Like the person that bought your book and left it for the inmates fulfilled purpose by giving them hope.
Exactly. I was humbled. I was like that blew my mind. Like this guy's like, for real, yeah. Because the guy said, "Wow, are you Ronnie?" Like I was like, "Oh, I've read your book again and again. Oh, you saved me." It was so emotional.
Wow.
I think I wrote about the experiences in one of my books. I think twice I wrote about it because I just couldn't. It was mind-blowing that the words I put together could literally save somebody's life.
And I think that just emphasizes another side of the power of the tongue that we had previously mentioned, that you were able to speak into somebody's life without even seeing them physically, but they just had to read your book. They just had to open your book and they found hope and their hope was restored. That's so amazing.
I think one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about books, especially writing, is that writing has given me the privilege to meet people I could have never met in any other way. It has given me a chance to touch people that I could have never touched in any other way. I don't know how many times somebody would drop me a message and give me a compliment to say, hey, I read your book. Thank you. I remember somebody, I think also she was in Velcom from the Free State. And she read one of my books where I talked about vision. And she said, I read your book and I was supposed to do some presentation at work, and I literally took whatever you said about vision word for word. I presented it at work, and I got a standing ovation. And they were asking me, "Where are you getting all these profound things?"
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Wow.
So I was humbled by it, So every time you hear such, it actually motivates you to do more when you get feedback from strangers, people that you don't know, and they say, "Hey, I got hold of your book," and they send you a message to say, "Hey, thank you for writing this book. It helped me."
So, what are the 3 things we can learn from You Had to Be Born? What inspired that book?
It's inspired by purpose, that everything was created for a reason. You're not just alive for the sake of being alive. Whether you were planned, unplanned, wanted, or unwanted, you are born with a destiny in mind. You are not mass produced. You're not a mistake. You are fearfully put together by the master craftsman. You are one in a billion. There's never been anybody like you, and there will never ever be anybody like you. You are special in every way. You are unique. Your life matters. The world needs you. That's how valuable you are. 3 things about your life. 1, you are born to serve. First and foremost, you serve God. Number 2, you serve God's people. And I've noticed that people in the church, they stop at number 2. They serve God and they serve God's people. But number 3, and most importantly, you serve the world. Your gift must be employed to serve the world. Your uniqueness must serve the world. Your potential must serve the world. Whatever you do must serve the world. So you are living your purpose. If in one or the other you are adding value, you are making a difference, you are helping somebody, you are saving somebody, you are living your purpose. You don't have to go to the moon for you to live your purpose. Your everyday life serves purpose. Take your life very serious and see yourself as somebody who's living a purpose-driven life, a life that makes a difference and leaves an indelible mark in the lives of other people. You're creating that environment that helps people become the best version of themselves. But the long and short of it is that all of us can live our purpose because it's not out there, it is here. From within you, let the rivers of living water begin to flow and touch lives.
Well, guys, I think this is it for today, but thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ronnie. And I hope that you guys will find all his books in store and it will inspire your lives. Thank you so much for being here. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining Kingdom Wisdom.